Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall, psychic, all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. Well, I must say, you know, for early part of spring here, we've had a real snap back to winter. It's absolutely quite chilly here this morning. And even though I live in a most magnificent part of the world where the sun is shining and I have beautiful beaches and mountains and scenery on my fingertips, it's not very pleasant when we go back into the cold. I'm a summer baby. I like the warmth. So to have to sort of rustle around in the closet looking for a jumper wasn't my idea before the show. Anyway, enough of my whinging about the weather. It's been an interesting week around the world, and as the world remembers and mourns and pays respect to those people that lost their lives with 9/11, and you can't believe it's been 20 years ago. I mean, I'm sure there isn't a person in the world that doesn't remember where they were that day when they heard that news coming in and watching it, you know, on television sets in those days in absolute horror and sort of almost a surreal feeling, not believing that this was playing out in real time and this was really, really happening. Were we watching a horror movie? Were we watching something that only happened in the movies? And I know for me, I can certainly remember where I was 20 years ago. It still brought back the heartache, the pain, the shock, the horror, the disbelief that a group of human beings could do that to another group of human beings. I mean, you know, have we really learnt anything? Have we progressed in the last 20 years? I'm not sure that we have in some ways. I mean, we still seem to sort of glorify war and the things that it stands for and still find reasons to blame everybody else for things that don't go the way that we think that they should. And, you know, we've had, you know, the recent sort of what people see as a debacle with the exit of Afghanistan, and it was everybody else's fault except, oh, you know, well, we all get on the bandwagon and have a whinge fest after the event, but nobody really put any effort into thinking about it when it was going to happen and how the exodus was going to happen. And, you know, and I don't know that there's any blame that really needs to go there. That you know, there was a lot of moving parts to that. And, you know, that was a direct result of part of that from 9/11. So we still have to remember those people that we lost, and those families will never, ever really heal from that tragic event. I mean, they're reminded of it constantly. They're reminded of it every year. And, you know, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, yes, it's good for them to remember the loved ones that they've lost, but it's also never really giving them closure. And that's one of the things that I think we struggle with as human beings is how do we get closure after a tragedy or losing a loved one? Look, I don't know that there's any particular answer of one size fits all. It's one of the most pressing questions I get after am I going to meet Mr. or Mrs. Wonderful is how do I find closure after losing someone close to me? And my answer to that is there is no right or wrong way. You've just got to do what feels right for you and take it at your own pace. Anyway, let's lighten the mood up a little bit and let's go to the Simply Tarot card of the week, which is the Ace of Cups. Now, I thought this was a really fitting, lovely, perfect card for this week because it's the offer of security. And this is when I talk about security and anything to do with the cups is connected to emotions and the offer of a helping hand. Now, wouldn't that be nice to feel as if we can start to feel a little bit secure in the craziness that's been going on in this world of late, and somebody just being able to reach out, offering us a helping hand or, you know, an arm, a pat on the shoulder, an embrace of some kind, if we're allowed to embrace anywhere in the world at the moment. But just knowing that someone's there and someone's going to help us would be a really, really good thing. Yes, the spirits are playing havoc with my ears this morning. They're making them itchy. And that's usually they're trying to get a message through to me. So it's, you know, I think that's a lot of people's passed over loved ones that are trying to get through this morning that are really sort of taking their opportunity to sort of say, I'm here. Just be aware. Just ask the question. Just sit in a quiet space and know that I'm with you. And I think that's the important message that's coming out of this card this week is the fact that we all do have people that have parted and left the our company that have gone through to the other side that are with us, that are trying to show us that they are there, they're engulfing us in their love, and that, you know, we can talk to them. You know, we mightn't get an answer back like you and I having a conversation, but we will get an answer from them. And sometimes it comes in the form of a song, sometimes it's a message, it's a signpost, it's a flash of something on the telly, or somebody says something in a conversation, or, you know, a certain section of a song. That's their answers, and we shouldn't ignore those. You know, there's lots of different signs. People talk to me about butterflies and feathers and things like that. It's a very, very personal thing. For me, I get a lot of messages just exactly that way. Can be watching something or listening to something, and then all of a sudden, bang, that one sentence is the answer that I've been seeking or asking for guidance to. So maybe that's the way that you should start to sort of try and encourage your own psychic ability to develop in a very natural way. We're going to move on to the astrology section now. Now, it's a really interesting week. Again, I know I say that every week. It's just been so interesting astrologically in all the years I've been in astrology, which is well over 40 years now. I've never seen such an interesting planetary configurations as we've seen in this last 2 years. So at the moment, the sun is sitting in Virgo, so it's the Virgo time of the year where we're supposed to all sort of start to really focus on our physical health and starting to look at our health, diet, exercise. Are we getting enough sleep? Is there things that we can change in our lives? And look, you know, I'm a firm believer in that you've got to put into your body what you expect to get out of it. So if you put in good nutrition, you take adequate breaks, you get enough rest, you get enough exercise, and everything in some sort of balance, don't worry about what the scales say or what people say should be your body shape. Know that if you're doing the right thing for your body, then that's the right thing for you, and you will get maximum performance out of it because you're feeding it and looking after it properly. So that's the connection there at the moment. Now, the sun is actually conjunct or holding hands Mars, the planet of action, the planet of let's get out of bed and let's get motivated. With it being in Virgo, it will give us, in a sense, a little bit of false security here that, you know, some days we get out of bed and we're absolutely pumped. We're ready to go, and it's like we're indestructible and nothing's going to stop us. And then sort of the next day, it's almost like I feel flat. And that's because we've overexerted ourselves the day before. So we need to be aware of that. But also with Mars sitting here in Virgo, it can be working overtime in your thoughts, because Mars really likes action and Virgo is very analytical. So it sometimes can manifest itself in that way that you can't switch your mind off and you think, what is wrong with me? I need to get some rest. I need, you know, I've got a busy day tomorrow and I can't switch that mind off. Can I suggest try and divert your mind to something else? Put on some music, get up and have a walk around the house or do something, and then go back to bed and say, right, now it's time for sleep, so that we try and divert that sort of energy to switch your mind off. That sometimes helps in situations like that. So we have Mercury, the planet of communication, is sitting in Libra at the moment, all by his or her big self. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this, because the planet of communication is very important. We all need to communicate in some form or another in our day-to-day lives. Now, while it's sitting in Libra, most people would sort of look at that and say, oh, Libra can't make up its mind and it's soft and it's gentle. Don't underestimate the power of Libra. Yes, it can be all those things, but Libra is also like the High Court judge, the one that's weighing up all the information, the scales of justice. It's trying to find the truth in the matter of the situation. So with Mercury sitting in Libra here at the moment, I want you to be your own High Court judge. I want you to listen very carefully to anything that's important in your life, whether that's a loved one or it's a family member or a friend or your boss, or whether it's just listening to what's going on in your local area by the authorities in your local area, and sift through what feels right to you and what is your truth. Not everything that comes out of people's mouths, unfortunately, is the truth. And at the moment, with us still being in the midst of this pandemic, and there's so much information out there, there's so much for people to sift through. And I think the harder thing in some ways is we've got so much access to the 24-hour news cycle, and we've got social media, and we've got devices, and we've got phones, and we've got all these things with all this information coming at us from every sort of which way. You know, do you have a vaccine? Do you not have a vaccine? Can we go out? Can we do this? some people are sort of saying, they've got to protest to get their civil liberties and all these sort of things back. And it's very, very confusing, where I think at the beginning of the pandemic, we were all in the same boat together. We all just wanted to beat this thing, and we'd all do whatever it took to make that happen. Now, I suppose we're all fatigued from that, and we sort of start to think, well, I don't know who to trust anymore and who to believe. All is my answer to that is I can't tell you, and it's not my place to tell you whether you should be vaccinated or not. Just look back at history. Look at the things that we've been able to achieve through medical science, listening to the science, listening to what people have suggested, and look at the diseases and the illnesses that we've managed to bring under control and almost make extinct. Now, they didn't happen by us all jumping up and down and protesting and saying, I want my freedom. So that's my suggested course of action. If you're struggling with anything, go back and look at history, because history is a great teacher of what we maybe can bring into this current life. Now, let's move on to the planetary configurations that are sitting in Capricorn. It's very much an earthbound sort of astrological chart this week. So I think it's asking us to all become grounded, to become focused, to be able to sort out what it is that's right for us. Now, we have the moon, the emotional planet, is transiting through Capricorn at the moment, not holding hands with anybody, just marching his way through Capricorn. Now, when the moon's in Capricorn, I quite often find this is a time where we sort of become almost indifferent to things. It's like I don't really want the emotions to upset me. I don't even really want to focus on anything emotional. Can't we do that tomorrow? And that's sort of almost the moon's role here, is he's sort of allowing us to take a little bit of a breather. In a sense, it's not saying we're ignoring it or forgetting it. It's just giving us a little bit of breathing room to sort of say, let's try and get all our thoughts sorted and straightened out and in some sort of direction that we can say, okay, I can go again. And I think that's the important role here, because there's just emotion overload, as we've just spoken about, with everything that's been going on for such a long time. Maybe 24 or 36 hours wouldn't be such a bad thing, of turning everything off and just listening to some lovely music that fills your soul and fills you back up and makes you feel positive and calm and nourishes you in a way that you can get back out into the real world again and focus with the day-to-day complexities that are going on around the world. Now, we also have the part of fortune, which is not a planet, and I quite often talk about that on the show here. It's a karmic thing. It's called one of the Arabian parts, and it's not necessarily where we're going to find our pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But when I see the part of fortune holding hands with Pluto, the planet of transformation, I get quite excited, because to me, this is an opportunity now where maybe we could have some breakthroughs. Maybe we could have some opportunities for us, maybe mere mortals, us little people, to maybe get a handle on what it is that we need to do for ourselves. We've been lectured to, we've been told of what we should and shouldn't do for such a long time, and we've had so much information thrown at us that, as I said, a day or two without listening to anybody would be great to nourish the soul. But at the same time, by doing that and being able to still ourselves, maybe then we'll get the answers that we need as individuals to help us cope with where our lives are going. And I think that that's really important. So it sort of might be where you've been sitting on the fence about whether to be vaccinated or not, and finally you make a decision because you study something or you look back at history, or finally the pieces fall into place for you and you make your decision. Well, that's the part of fortune conjunct Pluto opportunity. It can also be on many other levels. It might just be that you're going to make a major decision and say, well, in light of all that's happened and can't see an end to COVID, I'm going to make some family decisions. Maybe it's time to move. Maybe it's time to go back to a place where life was a little bit simpler with the opportunities now to work from home. Pluto conjunct the part of fortune can work in many different ways. Let's hope it's going to bring us some breakthroughs on a worldwide basis, that maybe some of our world leaders might grow a brain for a change and start listening to the people that place them in high office. That could be a miracle in the making, maybe. I'm the forever optimist. And before we wrap up the astrology section, I just wanted to quickly talk about Venus in Scorpio. Now, Venus is the planet of love and affection. Sitting in the sky of Scorpio means that, you know, for those people that are single out there, it may just be the time to have a little bit of look around you, because there may just be that someone special waiting in the wings there. It's a time that if you truly believe in love and you're ready to open your heart up to love, this is the time when we can attract a very powerful type of love that we've been craving or searching for a long time. That doesn't mean settle for second best. It just means open your heart up to the possibilities or the potential of maybe somebody that's been right under your nose all this time. We're going to talk with Sharon in Craig in Colorado. Are you there, Sharon?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a question I can work with tonight, please, Sharon?
Okay. I'm interested in two different guys, and I don't know which one to pick.
Oh, well, that's a nice dilemma to have, Sharon, isn't it? It's a lovely dilemma to have. Well, it's nice that, you know, you've got the potential of two suitors instead of having none on the horizon. So, okay, let me I'm going to say the taller one of the two men. Is the taller one of the two, is he slightly darker in colouring? Not necessarily, you know, black hair, black skin, black eyes, but is he slightly darker than the shorter man?
I don't think so.
There's got to be, one's got to be taller than the other. I've got the one that, to me, that's marginally taller than the other. I felt he was the darker of the two. Would he be the one?
Hair.
Yeah. Well, he could have, look, they could both be blonde, but one would be a darker shade of blonde than the other. So to me, they would come out as being darker.
Okay. No, one's got black hair, one's sort of got blondish brown hair.
Okay. So the one with the dark hair, is he slightly taller than the fairer man?
I think so.
Right, okay. Just want to be clear that who I'm tuning into as being the one that I feel the most comfortable with. So it's the man with the darker hair that's slightly taller than the fairer man. He's the one that I get the strongest energy with as being suitable to you. But it's interesting because I feel out of the two of them, he was the one that you were the least attracted to when you first met. Now, sometimes we don't necessarily connect with somebody at the beginning as much as we might with someone else, but it's as we go along, we start to find, oh, hang on a minute, yeah, look, I might have been super attracted to you at the beginning, but all of a sudden there's really nothing there. You know, it was a lot of fluff. It wasn't anything sort of stable and solid. So with the darker man, I feel he's the sort of person that I would describe as being a little bit stronger, also more opinionated, and sometimes that's the sort of part of him that you think, oh, I don't know whether I could handle that, somebody that's sort of so opinionated on things and doesn't seem flexible in any way. I'm not saying he's not flexible. I'm saying I think he is a strong man. He has definite opinions. He doesn't put up with any BS from anybody, but underneath that, there's a very gentle, caring man as well. So I think he's complex. I think he's interesting. I think he has a lot to offer you. But I'm just not sure, and I'm not convinced, Sharon, that either one of these are what I'd call as your true match. I just sort of feel it's like the universe is presenting you with a couple of options at the moment to see what you will do with them, how you will analyse it, how you work through it, and whether or not you'll settle for a relationship that's not quite right. Now, I can't tell you what to do. All I can share with you is the information that's being shared with me. But what I'm seeing here, Sharon, is these two to me are neither of these, in my opinion, your true love. I feel there's a third one coming into the mix as early as next month that's going to blow these two out of the water, and it won't be a contest. And I get him as also having dark hair, but he's got twinkly, bluey, greeny coloured eyes, and he's got a lovely smile, and it's like one of these chance meetings where you meet him somewhere at a place you've never been before, never likely to go again, and it's like the universe has set this up. He's my pick. He's the one that I really like, that I think will be the one to steal your heart. But what an amazing position to be in, Sharon, to have more than one to choose from. Lucky woman.
I actually haven't met these guys. I'm talking to them online. And one celebrity, and another guy is down in oil in Africa doing the oil well thing.
Right.
And,
Yeah. No.
you're
no,
right
I can
about
see you actually-
talking first.
I don't think it's either of them. I can actually physically see you meeting someone. Like going out with some friends, going to somewhere that you've never been before, not even particularly wanting to go, but you go because you can't think of an excuse to get out of it, and you actually physically meet this man in person, and he'll just blow these other two out of the water.
Oh, wow. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and he is wow. He is wow. So anyway, Sharon, that's where we're going to have to leave it. We're going to be talking with Tiffany now in Youngtown in Ohio. Are you there, Tiffany?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a question I can work with, please, Tiffany?
Yes. It's a mediumship question.
Right.
My dad, it's about my dad. He passed away when I was 13 by suicide.
Right.
I want to know if
Sorry to
his
hear.
spirit is still with me and my siblings or if he has moved on.
Tiffany, to answer your question, our passed over loved ones are always with us. They never, ever actually leave us. The thing is that we mere mortals, here humans on earth, tend to sort of think because we can't feel them or we can't see them or they're not sending us a message or they're not turning the light switches on and off at 2 o'clock in the morning, that they've deserted us or left us. No, the truth is they never leave us. There's different times in our lives where they become more active, if I can put it that way, where we're more aware of them than we are at other times. Now, usually that's times when we're going through hard times, you know, there's major decisions to be made or there's things that aren't necessarily as pleasant in our lives, and we sort of tend to feel them more then. But don't think that they ever leave us. Your father hasn't left you. He's never left your side. It's just that he knows that you're strong enough to make your own decisions. He keeps a watchful eye over everything. I don't even know that, I know you said he took his own life, but I don't think that was his intention. I don't, you know, that's what was ended up being the actual outcome of what happened, but I don't think that was his intention. I think he did something that, yes, he's lived to regret ever since, because that was, you know, the end of his life and he missed out on seeing you grow up in the physical, but it was not his intention. It was one of those things that just happened on the spur of the moment. Look, I'm not saying he didn't have some issues prior to him taking his own life. I'm just saying it was never his intention to leave you and the family. That wasn't what he was trying to do. He was just trying to stop the pain. He was just trying to numb things a little bit, and it went horribly wrong. He keeps showing me that you've cried far too many tears, and I'm not talking about at the time when you lost him. I'm talking about further on in your life. He's showing me in your mid-20s that there was just a spate of nothing but tears. Why was that? Was it just, you know, that section of your life that things just didn't go the way you wanted them to?
I was in a very bad place in my 20s.
Right, okay, because he wanted to highlight that he knew and he was there and he was helping you. That, you know, that he was very much aware of what you were going through and all these tears. And he kept showing me that he kept trying to hold you in his arms and give you the strength to go on, even though you may not have been aware at times that, you know, he was there. He was definitely there holding you, cradling you, helping you. He's very proud of the woman that you've become. He keeps, you know, putting you up on a pedestal 10 foot tall. He couldn't be prouder if he tried. Is there 3 children that you have in your life?
Yep.
Yeah, because
Yes,
he keeps
I do.
showing me 3. Yeah, he keeps showing me three children. He was showing me like I nursed the 3 babies before they were given to Tiffany. So I was thinking, well, I hope that they were your 3 and there wasn't, you know, like 3 great-grandchildren or grandchildren to come that he was showing me. But these, to me, he was showing me like he nursed each one of these babies before they were yours. So the middle one of your children, have you been concerned over that child, have you?
Yes, my youngest, Haley.
Yeah, but he's showing me that they're going to be all right. He's saying to me it's okay. They're going to be fine. he keeps showing me this beautiful big pink heart. Now, I'm taking that it's not necessarily new love coming towards you. I think he's trying to share with you the love that he feels for you and your family, and he's telling you that he has not ever, ever once left your side. He is there with you constantly. And he wants you to know that and be aware of that everything that you do, every decision that you make, he is there standing practically on top of you. You know, he's so close to you. He's not necessarily to your side or behind you or in front of you. He's right with you. He's almost jumps into you. You know, he's just so close. He just has never left your side. He's showing me that there's a question mark around a move of residence. Is that something that you've been contemplating, making a change?
Yes.
Yeah, he's telling me the decision's not quite ripe yet. It's like, let's sort of hedge towards the end of the year. Even if the move doesn't happen this year and it happens in the early part of 2022, that's fine. He's saying there's no rush. I sort of feel as if there's a little bit more information to come in before you make that final decision. And that may just be more putting the focus into your youngest child, you know, making sure that they're safe, secure, and, you know, they've worked through their issues so that then when you do go to make that choice, you're in a better headspace, you know what I mean? Like you've got nothing else to focus on except the decision of the move, and that's good. 2022 is going to be certainly a much better year than you've had in the last couple of years, but your dad's just sort of showing me just, you know, he's bunches of flowers and hearts and just everything that he could show me in symbolic way of being positive is what he's giving me. So I can only take from that you're in for some very, very, very good times, Tiffany, ahead, and that's really lovely. So why do I feel this feeling of loneliness around you?
I am lonely. I have no moral support.
Yeah, okay, your dad's telling me that's not going to be for much longer. So you just got to hang in there. He wants you to know he's there with you. If you've got a question that you need answered, ask him, talk to him before you go to sleep of a night and ask him to put the answer in your mind first thing in the morning, and he will do his level best to give you answers. You might not always agree with them, but he'll give you the information that's needed. Unfortunately, Tiffany, that's where we've got to leave it now because we've come to the end of the show. But know that your dad is with you every single day and he loves you, and he's sending you the beautiful big bunch of roses just to show you how much he loves you. Okay, so that's where we're going to leave Tiffany now. We've come to the end of the show, and it's always interesting when people sort of question about passed over loved ones and how, you know, are they with us? Yes, they're with us each and every day, but they don't always make their presence known. So if you've lost somebody, then sort of maybe take the time to sort of sit quietly and try and just have a conversation with them out loud. They really love that. It's really important to them that we speak out aloud so that they know that you're talking directly to them. And there's been many songs written about it, and there's been many people that we've lost, famous and not so famous, over the years that are really important to each and every one of us. And I think it's important to honour the people that we've lost each and every day because they are what makes us the unique person that we are. So until next week, be kind to each other and make sure that you find something to smile about. And don't forget to acknowledge your passed over loved ones. Bye for now.